There is a man in the circle of friends who loves to show off his figure. I often post all kinds of photos of showing off my muscles in the mirror. Originally, I wondered which Aquaman was fishing. Only later did I know that his circle of friends was visible only to me. I swiped to the circle of friends of the mysterious male god again. The convention is a photo, but this time I changed my style, revealing a reserved energy that wants to be exposed. He tipped the hem of his t-shirt with his 5 fingers, revealing his obvious abs, and his gray sweatpants were still loose on his body, and the trouser cords hung down naturally, one long and one short, stealing all my sight in an extremely incongruous manner. I stared at it for a moment, my face silently reddening. I forget when I added him, but I remember that since I had the impression that his circle of friends was full of this kind of photos. Abs, bronchioles, backs. He sends one every 3 or 5 times, and continues to tug at people's heartstrings. I suspect it's an Aquaman for 3 reasons. First of all, he doesn't show his face. Secondly, he is very sultry. In the end, he did not abide by male morality. Whose good wife and man would post on moments like this? Originally, I was just watching with the mentality of, don't look at nothing, don't look at it, but today I was a little bit upset. These gray sweatpants really tickled me. The drowsiness dissipated. I forwarded the photo to him, and started a conversation. Is it cold at home? Why are you wearing so much today? The message was sent, but he didn't reply. I don't know if I don't have time to go back, or I don't want to go back. I didn't pay attention to it, and seeing that the lunch break was about to pass, I hurried up to catch up on sleep. Waking up again was woken up by the noise of the office. Female colleagues gathered in groups, holding their mobile phones and shouting, "Lovelorn, Lovelorn." I listened to it in a blur, and it seemed that a celebrity had just made their relationship public. I touched my phone, clicked on the hot search list, and was stunned when I saw the names on the list. Sandra Thompson, Bo Meredith. It's my best friend who is making her relationship public. I clicked in with the indignation that she didn't even tell me when she was in love, and the content of the video made me even more dumbfounded. At the variety show recording site, the camera was pointed at each guest's mobile phone. The game session is for each guest to post on moments to declare that they are unhappy to see who gets comfort first. Among the few phones that are stationary, the one on the far left is the first to pop up with a small red dot. It's Bo Meredith. The host eagerly clicked on, still talking, "Let's see who it is." His voice stopped abruptly, and he was stunned on the spot. I saw that in the dialog box. Which is comfort? Where is comfort? A photo of a man with a side rub with a line of words, "Is it cold at home? Why are you wearing so much today?" That's the end of the video. The picture quality is not very good, probably which audience took it, but no matter how bad the picture quality is, it does not prevent you from seeing the details in the dialog box. The avatar is the female star Sandra Thompson, with the note of, Momo, sending a private photo of the actor Bo Meredith that he has never made public, and he is also intimate, and it can even be said to be harassment. In view of the fact that Sandra Thompson once claimed that her nickname is Momo, netizens generally believe that this is Sandra Thompson. Sandra Thompson and Bo Meredith's relationship has rushed to the hot search. I rubbed my cheeks, and the shock was so loud that I wondered I hadn't woken up from my nap. The conversation with the male bodhisattva is still there. I shuddered, and the same thing hit my retina again. I clearly realized that the man who shows off his muscles every once in a while in the circle of friends is the actor Bo Meredith in the entertainment industry. The hot search is still fermenting. The most stimulated are the fans. Usually you don't even show your ankles, and the buttons of your shirt can't wait to be buttoned to the top of your head. I thought you were the most masculine, but it turned out. What is this? Bo Meredith's abs, touch it. What is it? Bo Meredith's abs, touch it. What is it? Bo Meredith's abs, touch them. Sisters, who made a high-definition big picture. Wow, I'm going to make a lock screen wallpaper. Passerby, is Bo Meredith usually painting in this style? It's so exciting. This comment had the most replies to it, and I clicked into the middle of the building, and was almost filled with, he's not. Flash was blind. Undoubtedly, fans were shocked, but I was equally shocked. I swiped through the comment section, trying to counteract my impact with the impact of fans, and before I could slow down, a new message popped up on the top of my phone. It was her best friend Sandra Thompson, and she also threw a screenshot. Sandra Thompson, Isabella, don't tell me it's you. The screenshot is the conversation, which is indefensible, and I bow my head and admit, it's me. She sent a string of ellipses and asked sincerely, how did you get to Bo Meredith? To be honest, I want to know too. I'm just an ordinary good person. Why did I die in front of the people of the whole country? Although it is my best friend, who is currently dead in the society. Afraid that she would be difficult, I couldn't help but ask, is it troublesome? She replied, there's nothing wrong with me, it's not me anyway, just clarify, Bo Meredith is more troublesome. I purse my lips, still digesting the fact that the male god is Bo Meredith. The girlfriends started gossiping, what the hell is going on with you, and Bo Meredith? I didn't know what to say, so I said, he's the Sea King I told you earlier. The girlfriend slapped the table in shock, it turns out that you are the one he has always wanted to fish. I think it's basically the same as fantasy. Bo Meredith and I are complete strangers. He doesn't know me, and I don't know him. Or rather, I know he's a big star. Other than that, there is no intersection. How could he be fishing for me? I had just finished denying it when a new message popped up on the top of my phone. It was another party to public opinion, and he replied to me, Bo Meredith, then I'll try to wear less next time. Big brother, are you sure you didn't catch the wrong person? If he is an ordinary Sea King in the circle of friends, then I may reply to him with a few sentences. But he wasn't. He is the actor Bo Meredith. I can't even understand how he still has the leisure to flirt with me, a strange netizen. After the incident, her best friend clarified as soon as possible, indicating that the person who sent the message was not her. Her friends in the circle also stood up to prove that Sandra Thompson's usual Weshit account is not this. And I also changed my Avatar and Weshit name in time, for fear of being seen by the people around me. Only Bo Meredith, who was at the center of the incident, did not respond. There was no PR and no clarification. He didn't seem to know that the internet had already quarreled because of him. The most concentrated fire is the collapse of the character. After all, Bo Meredith was a male model in the entertainment industry before. He is clean and self-conscious, does not spread scandals, and has almost no other hobbies in his life except filming and fitness, not even the most common tobacco and alcohol. Gentlemanly, polite, and well-dressed. Regarding his no-show dressing habits, there have also been interviews with the media. Bo Meredith said at the time, my body is only visible to my wife. As soon as the interview video came out, it was immediately commented on by a large number of netizens, who praised him as a male moral pacesetter. Can only say how ruthless he was praised at the beginning, and how much he is ridiculed now. After all, the person who claims to be only his wife can see the body, is secretly taking pictures all over the sky. I also think this person is a bit fake. If only his wife can watch it, then what is he doing in the circle of friends all day long? One after another, I'm almost done reading him, am I his wife? As it turns out, I also underestimated what Bo Meredith could afford. At the moment when his Weshit account was exposed, not only did he not collect it, but he even posted another circle of friends that night. It's still a picture. However, the style is much more explicit than before, and even the clothes are a little less worn, as he said. I really don't know what to say. I just want to sigh that the character design in the entertainment industry is really fake. Bo Meredith, who can be regarded as a high-level Sea King, who casts a wide net and catches more fish, can even be called a male moral pacesetter in the entertainment industry. It's hilarious. I decisively chose to block his circle of friends. A moment later, Bo Meredith approached me with the photo. He asked, is that okay? I didn't want to have an ambiguous relationship with him, so I said bluntly, what the hell do you want to do? He was more blunt than me, I want to chase you. I was so scared that I deleted him directly. After deleting it, I still have lingering palpitations. Fortunately, my girlfriend reminded me that I was really a fish in his fish pond. I just escaped from the fish pond here, and my girlfriend fell into the clutches of the devil again. It turned out that she and Bo Meredith had already crossed paths at work, and they wanted to endorse a luxury mineral water together. The contract has been set a long time ago, but it has not been officially announced for a long time, and now the partner sees that the scandal of the two spokespersons has come out, so he simply boosts it from behind. Advertising shoots are on the agenda urgently. I was afraid that my girlfriend would suffer, so I told me, you must be careful, Bo Meredith. She nodded in agreement. Who knew that on the first day of filming, she brought me a big news. Sandra Thompson, it turns out that Bo Meredith recommended this ad to my father. My head was filled with question marks in an instant, puzzled and at the same time, I am also very emotional. Bo Meredith, this Sea King is 2C, right? I said eagerly. How? Did he harass you? My girlfriend's reply surprised me. No, he's normal. If you hadn't told me, I wouldn't have imagined him being that kind of person in private. I typed down a few words sadly. This is a human design. Afraid that she would take it lightly, I called directly and told Bo Meredith that he was going to chase me. Emphatically, he can only catch one, and count one. Who knew that his girlfriend focused on the deviation? He really wants to chase you. Me. She was more focused. Bo Meredith didn't give me inventory because of you, did he? I really can't bear it anymore. I just hate iron and steel. Why do you want to set such an affectionate character for Aquaman? The girlfriend laughed suddenly. What if he's not Aquaman? Of course he is. I argued, who would be a normal person to post on moments like that? I thought he was looking for a rich woman at first. The girlfriend laughed even more. I think it's probably only you who wants to fish. I was speechless. I don't know him. Maybe you too. She stopped abruptly. Immediately after, a clear male voice came from the other end of the phone. Can I sit here? Thanks to the internet revelations in the past few days, I can already hear that this voice belongs to Bo Meredith. Crisp and clean, with a lot of personal touch. Sit down. It's the voice of a girlfriend. After a rustling sound, it was Bo Meredith, who asked, Are you familiar with Isabella? HMM. The girlfriend seemed to be smiling. Then do you know why she deleted me? Bo Meredith's tone was confused. If she's not happy with the photos, I'll be a little bigger. Snort. It was the girlfriend who laughed. After a long time, her rather courteous voice sounded, Then let me help you ask. I'm in trouble. Bo Meredith said politely. As soon as he left, my best friend's laughter could no longer be suppressed, one after another, and the laughter upset me. I annoyed, Stop laughing. She snorted twice and deliberately said, He seems to know you. Me. At the instigation of my best friend, I came to the advertising shooting base to visit the class. The scene has been cleaned up, but there are still a lot of people around, 3 circles inside and 3 circles outside, and there is a black circle. Through the crowd, I saw Bo Meredith at a glance. This is probably the legendary Star Flavor. And he was standing there, and my eyes couldn't see anyone else. He was dressed in a pure black tracksuit, clear and straight, and was slightly bent over at this time. And the assistant sprayed the broken hair on his forehead and sideburns. It was as if the assistant's hand shook a little, and the mist rushed into his eyes. The air froze for a few seconds. I saw his eyelashes blink downward. The water droplets slid down, and he opened those watery eyes to comfort people. It's okay. Go on. I thought silently. My temper is quite good. Bo Meredith looked at me precisely. He was first surprised, then panicked, and then quietly looked back after a few seconds. But the side face, which was as white as jade, slowly turned red at a speed visible to the naked eye. As I got closer, I heard the stylist say, Have you already put on your cheeks? The girlfriend was laughing again. She whispered and teased. Do you really not know? But he blushes when he looks at you. To be honest, I'm quite puzzled. Is Bo Meredith such an innocent person? But would an innocent person post such a circle of friends? In the next second, my best friend answered my doubts. Before the commercial started, she threw her mobile phone to me, and said succinctly, Just added Bo Meredith Weshit. You go to see his circle of friends. I muttered, What's there to see? And honestly clicked on it. The results surprised me. His circle of friends at this time was clean. And there was nothing. There is no prompt that, friends only show the circle of friends, in the last 3 days. It is literal. Nothing. It can be clearly seen that, when I watched it 2 days ago, it was still full of edge photos. Has it been deleted? Or is it grouped? I looked at Bo Meredith not far away, and I couldn't figure it out. The shooting of the advertisement ended quickly, and the group discussed the location of the dinner party in the evening. I waited next to my best friend, and I felt that there was a gaze that always fell on me. I followed the trail. No matter which angle you look at, the end of the line of sight is Bo Meredith. The girlfriend watched the show. If you have something to say, ask a question. Just look at what you can see. I'm still wondering whether to ask. Bo Meredith has already come over. He was neatly packed at this time, with a proper shirt and trousers, and 2 buttons on the neckline, revealing a small piece of skin. Maybe it's because he doesn't show it often. And when he walked steadily, he subconsciously pulled the slightly open neckline. The very simple actions are made by him, but they are extremely sultry. Bo Meredith went to see Sandra Thompson and said, "The place to eat later is at Grand Hyatt." The girlfriend pretended to be surprised. "When do you need to be notified of this kind of news in person?" Bo Meredith choked, as if embarrassed. He looked away and turned to me quietly, silently, but asked, "Are you coming?" I really felt ridiculous and helpless at the moment. In my opinion, this action is very similar to a young couple, pretending not to know each other on the surface, but secretly Chen Song behind the scenes. Am I so familiar with him? It's not the place to talk right now, but I can't help it. I took a step closer to him, and whispered, "We know each other." He nodded. What is the circle of friends?" He stared at me for a long time, as if gathering courage, and slowly said, "The circle of friends is sent to you." He leaned into my ear, the red roots of his ears dangling under my nose, and he added softly, "Just for you." With a bang, the roots of my ears burned. The dinner party after work was very interesting. In a noisy and enthusiastic environment, I still have Bo Meredith's phrase, "just for you." I found that I couldn't think about it at all, and I couldn't control my blushing at all. My girlfriend poked me on the cheek and asked, "What do you want? Why don't you eat it?" I didn't keep quiet, for fear that she would tease me again. Raising his eyes to see the culprit, his ears were still red, but his face was already calm, and he was calmly refusing the persuasion of others. The table was full of delicacies, and I lost the heart to eat and drink. I reached for my phone under the desk, clicked on Wish It, and saw the friend request that Bo Meredith had sent 5 minutes earlier. In fact, he also applied in the past few days, but I didn't agree. This time, I clicked through. He and I became friends again. The ghost made a mistake. I clicked into his circle of friends, and saw that there was still a full screen of Edge photos. Fingers slid down, one after the other. It doesn't look like a serious person's circle of friends. The girlfriend looked at it and laughed. Why the hell did he send it like this? It's too easy to misunderstand. I was also curious, so I just asked directly. Bo Meredith, who was across the table, was stunned when he pulled out his phone, and looked up at me when he saw the message. He replied quickly and threw a screenshot. I clicked on it, and there were black lines all over my head. The picture is on the circle of friends that I once posted. The time was in the early hours of the morning 2 months ago. The content is, "Rubbing the Edge Man, a treasure in the world. Thumbs up." My best friend watched the whole process, and smiled on my shoulder. "The popular actor rubbed the side for love, ha ha ha. He's really." I'm crying to death. I want to cry too. This circle of friends didn't stay for more than a minute, and I don't know how it was so coincidental. And it was screenshotted by Bo Meredith. Sure enough, it was only a moment, but social death was a lifetime. Bo Meredith replied, "I thought I was doing what I liked." I was stunned. All the absurd and irrational behavior of Bo Meredith seems to have an explanation at this moment. Like, he likes me. But why does he like me? I wanted to ask directly, but it didn't seem like I could ask directly. It's just a few words, and it's been deleted, and it hasn't been sent. Until the end of the party, everyone was almost gone. Bo Meredith was nowhere to be seen, and I was led to the parking lot by my girlfriend. It's probably because there's one thing in my heart, and I can't always lift my spirits. Before the car, my girlfriend suddenly said, "Bo Meredith said that she was going to requisition my car." I reacted for a few seconds. "Huh?" I agreed. My girlfriend patted me on the shoulder. "He's in the car. Let's talk." Michael and I went out for a walk, and we ended up calling me. Before I could decide, she waved away. In the huge parking lot, all that was left was the crisp sound of her high heels hitting the ground. I hesitated for a long time, but finally opened the door. Bo Meredith was waiting in the car. He sat in the right seat in the back row of the nanny car, and when he saw me, his eyebrows were slightly raised, and he suppressed his joy. I can't help but wonder, is it so happy? The doors closed. In the confined space, I was affected by his dignified reserve, and I inexplicably didn't dare to be too presumptuous. I asked again tentatively, "We used to know each other?" He nodded. "In the first year of junior high school, we were at the same table." I still can't remember. The first year of junior high school was a turning point in my life. When my mother passed away, I changed jobs and schools with my father, and since then, I have been tossing and turning all the way, and the innocuous table mates really can't leave any memories of my turbulent life. He reminded, little mute, I'm a little impressed. In those years, everyone loved to take nicknames, and it was wrong to be taciturn, and if you didn't like to talk, you were a little mute. He has a really introverted personality, and he doesn't communicate with the people in the class, and even walks against the wall, and he is soon isolated because he doesn't fit in. One time he was about to go to the toilet when he was blocked by a group of boys at the toilet door, shouting that he had to beg them to let him in. He didn't open his mouth, and the matter got bigger and bigger. Everyone was watching and laughing. His little fair face flushed. When the news reached my ears, I was a little lawless with my parents, and I rushed over with a broom. I hit the center of the crowd with a broom, and forced myself to make a way for him. The boy was shouting and dissatisfied, and I stood guard at the door of the men's toilet with a broom in my hand, and said viciously, "I see, who dares to bully me, at the same table." I couldn't help but laugh at the past in form too. Bo Meredith's eyes lit up. "Do you remember?" I nodded, looked him up and down, and couldn't help but sigh. "You've changed a lot." Who would have thought that the little boy, who was oppressed back then, would grow into a high-profile star? He pursed his lips and smiled shyly. This shy personality at every turn is really far from his circle of friends, and I can't help but ask, "What are your circle of friends? Is it really for me?" He looked at him sincerely. I instantly felt a sense of sin, as if I had brought a bad child. He's still saying, "After you transferred to another school, I missed you. I tried to find you, but I couldn't find you. I use all my parents' connections, and I still don't know where you went." His tone became more and more difficult. After a moment of silence, his voice changed. "Fortunately, after so many years, I met you again." He was very serious. "I want to say, I like you." I didn't know what to say for a while. It would be nice to be remembered by someone like Bo Meredith, but I can't be happy. The gap of time is insurmountable. Bo Meredith is thinking about the past me, but I am no longer the high-spirited person I used to be. I had to say, "I've changed a lot." "I know," he said. "You don't know," I reiterated. "I don't take the initiative to talk to people now, and I will weigh the pros and cons of workplace bullying, and I am not confident, generous, positive, or optimistic. I'm normal now." I say, "Bo Meredith, you will be disappointed if you like me like this." "What did you say to the actor?" How did I see how unhappy he was when he left? After my girlfriend got in the car, she asked me about the situation as soon as possible. "There's nothing to hide. I'll just say it all." She looked shocked. "You rejected Bo Meredith?" She screamed again. "You turned down Bo Meredith?" I rubbed my ears and signaled, "I'm not deaf. I can hear." She was unwilling to say, "Why refuse? Anyway, he likes you." What's the difference between the past and the present? I would say that the difference is huge. But she didn't listen. That's Bo Meredith. How many people can't sleep if they want to? And when the opportunity is delivered to you, can you still wave your hand? Why don't you talk for 2 days before you divide it? I said bluntly, "If he doesn't like me, I have to agree to be together. That's just as well." The girlfriend switched in an instant. She and I leaned in the back seat of the nanny car, leaning on each other. She suddenly wondered, "What happened to you in your first year of junior high school?" I don't remember what happened to me, but I remember that, when I got up, I felt that all the flowers in the world were blooming for me. I'll give you a simple example. At that time, the teacher asked us to introduce ourselves on stage, and I said, I took a deep breath, resisted the embarrassment of my toes picking at the ground, and tried to revert. "Hello everyone. My name is Isabella. I'm sure you'll all like me. After all, Who doesn't like Isabella? Ha 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 ha. My girlfriend laughed and trembled, and punched me in the shoulder. Yours is really there. Recalling the green years, I am also very emotional. The girlfriend pouted. I really want to get to know each other. It must be fun. It's like, when I first met you, it was lifeless. And it wasn't fun at all. Getting to know Sandra Thompson was really lifeless in my worst years. But I still became friends with her, probably because she and I both have nicknames. Momo. She is confident, generous, optimistic and positive. Much like me in the past. Being friends with your past self is a novel experience. I rested my head on her shoulder, snuggled up and said, Sandra Thompson, I'm glad to have you. The girlfriend was not moved at all, shook her arm with goosebumps, and said, don't be numb. You're here. Get out of the car quickly. I snorted knobbly and coldly, get off the car. Get off. I thought it would end perfectly, but I underestimated Beau Meredith's influence. It turned out that he would be followed by paparazzi when he went out. That night, a piece of news quickly hit the hot search. Actor Love Stone Hammer, Beau Meredith, Sandra Thompson's nanny car for a 2-hour private meeting. The girlfriend took a screenshot and came to Xingxi to ask the guilt. I took the blame for you, for the second time. I really had no choice but to promise passionately. Don't worry, there will never be a third time. After that, Beau Meredith didn't look for me again. His circle of friends has not been updated again. It was as if he had just disappeared into my world. However, it seems that this is how it should be. He and I are people from two worlds. And even if there is a little intersection by accident, we will eventually drift apart. I just didn't expect Beau Meredith's mom to find me. She got out of the back seat of the Rolls-Royce, and said to me gently, Isabella, come on. Behind him, the sound of a colleague's inhalation sounded. This scene is really like the persuasion of a wealthy family. I stepped forward in embarrassment and had to whisper, Auntie, I really have nothing to do with Beau Meredith. She laughed and touched my head. I haven't tasted mother's love for a long time, and I was a little stunned at this moment, and the timidity in my heart slowly disappeared. In the car, his mom said to me, Beau Meredith has been locking himself up at home for a few days. I guess. What happened to him and you? Right. I secretly speculated. Is it forced peace? She laughed again. Don't be nervous. You've made me nervous. She changed her wording and tone, becoming more gentle. This thank you is many years late, but I still have to say it. Thank you for being brave enough to stand up and help him. Thank you for taking the trouble to talk to him every day. And thank you for opening up his heart. It turned out that Beau Meredith was a little slightly autistic. He spent all his primary school years at home, and his parents invited famous teachers to teach one-on-one at home. As he grew older, the doctors agreed that this was not conducive to character development and recommended that he be sent to school to have more contact with his peers. So he and I became tablemates. His mother said. His dad and I were worried that he wouldn't fit in, but reason told us not to meddle. Thankfully, he met you. The gratitude in her words was so heavy that I was ashamed to hear it. I said, I didn't do anything. She laughed and said, but he did change. He slowly started talking at home, sharing what happened at school at the dinner table, and saying that he had met a little angel. The word angel made me blush, probably seeing my embarrassment. She changed the subject at the right time. By the way, he didn't do anything to you after the meeting, right? Heh. After you left, this kid couldn't accept the reality and was a little stunned. Sometimes he fantasizes that you're still with him, and sometimes he thinks of you as his girlfriend. I'm really stunned at the moment. It turned out that Beau Meredith's inexplicable blushing and self-acquaintance like a little couple after meeting was the reason. His mother said, but he's fine now. I would say that it may not be entirely good yet. She took my hand and patted me gently. If you don't hate him, can you make contact with him first? Even if you use him as a spare tire. She took a step back and said, I know it's a bit of a tough thing, but as a mother, it's really heartbreaking to see him lock himself in his room. This kid has always been passive, and the initiative in this life may have been used on you. The car slowly stopped downstairs at my house. She finally said, I hope you'll think about it. I was really thinking about it, and even reflecting on it. That day it wasn't quite right. I shouldn't have denied Beau Meredith's feelings at the same time as I denied myself. How innocent he was, while still struggling with how to find Bo Meredith. A new message popped up on the top of the phone. Bo Meredith from Passive, can I talk to you again? In order to avoid my girlfriend from taking the blame for the third time, I chose the address of the conversation at my house. Soon, Bo Meredith rang the doorbell. Pull open the door, and outside the door is a decadent and spirited Bo Meredith. It may be contradictory to describe it, but that's how he feels to me. He was dressed in a custom-made suit, with a delicate silk scarf stacked on his breast pocket, and a fresh cologne smell on his wrist. But no matter how much you dress, you can't hide the decadence. He had red blood under his eyes, broken hair on his forehead to cover his eyes, and his body was rapidly emaciating in a short period of time. He squeezed through the door and said with a smile, "Long time no see." I turned around and asked him, "What do you drink?" "No," he said, "I'll say a few words and go." He was still standing in the hallway, like a stubborn green pine, just looking at me and saying, "I've been thinking about it for a long time and I can't understand why I'm disappointed. I will never be disappointed in you," he said earnestly, "that you are still by my side, that it is a gift from heaven to me." If it weren't for his mother's words, I would have thought it was his clumsy rhetoric. But at this moment, I feel that he is dissecting his true heart. "You're not ordinary." He was standing there, so handsome, so perfect, and he said to me, "You are never ordinary in my eyes. You're a little angel," he said. A wordless soreness welled up in my heart. After a long silence, I asked him, "After I transferred to another school, did they still bully you?" "No," he said in a proud tone. "I said that my table mate would come back sooner or later. Who would dare to bully me?" I turned around just in time to block out the fog that covered my eyes. It's been a long time since I felt like this kind of thing, as if I was his whole world, cherished and valued. I poured water to relieve my mood, and he said solemnly behind him, "I want to chase you." "I'm serious." I handed him the poured water, and he was repeating, "I want to chase you." I asked, "Don't you promise not to drink water?" He was stunned, hesitated for 2 seconds, and didn't drink. I got off the donkey. "Then I promise, you can drink." He smiled childishly, drank it cleanly, and commented, "Sweet." I thought to myself, "You stupid." Bo Meredith hadn't been at my house long that day, and he said he was in a hurry to get home and choose a plan to pursue. I thought it was a bit of an exaggeration, but I went with him. What I didn't expect was that his relationship with his girlfriend could be scored 3 times. The paparazzi first took a photo of my girlfriend entering and leaving my house, and then took a photo of Bo Meredith entering and leaving my house, with the text, "Sandra Thompson, Bo Meredith love nest exposed. Isn't it sweet to go in and out?" I was speechless and helpless, so I could only hand over the screenshot to my girlfriend, and ask for guilt. "I'm sorry, I made you take the blame again." Unexpectedly, she was excited. "Sandra Thompson, Bo Meredith introduced me to director Jaden, and said he was going to have me on his next film. Sandra Thompson, next time I have a pot like this, be sure to keep me on my back. Sandra Thompson, it's all up to you for my acting career." Shiro was worried. Probably enough of the strategy. Bo Meredith chased people in a variety of ways. What shocked me the most was his move to restore the update of the circle of friends. He still posts a photo. However, the frequency has increased, and it has become a daily post, and even the scale of the picture is pulled again and again. Occasionally, I swiped it in the circle of friends, and I had to make sure that no one dared to click on it. It's an amazing feeling. In the past, I thought he was the king of the sea, and I could still appreciate it with generous and pure eyes. But now I know that he is specifically for my favor, but I am too shy to look at it. After all, this behavior is too much like flirting. One by one, I finally couldn't help but go and clarify. "Don't post it. I don't like to watch this." Bo Meredith replied. "I know," he said. "I'm just deliberately seducing." My face started to turn red again. Bo Meredith is respectful, measured, and especially full of love for me, and it is almost too simple to be tempted by him. And he confirmed the relationship on an ordinary winter day. At that time, he had been in the group for nearly a month. He chases people and belongs to the sticky puppy type of chasing. Usually if nothing is right, he will find a way to hang around. and suddenly he can't see anyone for a month, and the sense of loss is self-evident. I knew very well that I was thinking about him, and wanted to see him, and this thought together can't be suppressed no matter how much it is suppressed. I immediately booked a ticket to fly to the crew, packed a few pieces of luggage, and called a taxi to prepare for departure. As soon as the door opened, there was a dusty Beau Meredith standing outside the door. He had just arrived. His coat was still stained with unmelted snowflakes. His skin was cold and white, and his lips were very red. When he saw me, he smiled, and the room was full of light. He asked, "It's so cold outside. Where are you going?" I honestly said, "I'm going to find you." He was slightly stunned. He reacted very quickly, and stepped forward to hold me in his arms. I watched as the snowflakes on his shoulders melted little by little. After a long time, his gentle murmur sounded above his head, "It's good to be able to hold you in such a cold winter." He spent the night at my house. It didn't do anything, but it was still sweet. Couples in love seem to be like this, looking at each other simply. Sparks can burst out from the bottom of their eyes instantly, and even the sweetness that emerges from their chests is like honey. Later, I learned that after I fell asleep, he also posted a post. Beau Meredith v. I entered the entertainment industry to be seen by her, and today I finally got what I wanted, with a picture, a photo of me and him interlocking their fingers. That night, the fan circle shook and Weibo was paralyzed, and the initiator pulled the quilt and hugged me to sleep fragrantly. In the early stage of love, girlfriends did not take the blame, and when they are really in love, they naturally have girlfriends to help cover up. Thanks to her help, I have been in love with Beau Meredith for a long time, and I have never been exposed to the camera. I was well protected by her and Beau Meredith. It's another year of fashion dinners. My girlfriend and Beau Meredith were invited, and they invited me to watch the ceremony, but I went with my bag anyway. Backstage, I first look for my girlfriend's lounge. She's been very popular lately. Her daily schedule is full, and she's so busy that she doesn't touch the ground, and I haven't seen her for almost a month. The assistant didn't stop me. I pushed the door myself. She was still putting on makeup in front of the mirror, and her eyes were closed. I walked in with a light step, and she suddenly said, "Don't pretend. You know it's you when you hear the footsteps." I was helpless. "What kind of ears are you?" "Human ears." She opened her eyes to look at me, looked up and down, and said, "You," she said, "you look good." I resisted her teasing and said, "It's a little bit more beautiful." She was stunned for a moment. Later, "If you don't seem to leave a sentence, I seem to know what your first year of junior high school is like." It's a nonsensical sentence, but I somehow understand what she has to say. I've really been changing my mindset lately. I was healthy, positive, optimistic, and I started to feel like the flowers of the world were blooming for me. The girlfriend threw out the mother's family-like approval. "Beau Meredith is good." It's a change that happened to me, but it's really something to do with Beau Meredith. I didn't seem to have anything wrong with me in his eyes. Even if I was just breathing, he probably had to praise me. I saw him in front of me. He would hold his chin in his hands, staring at me with starry eyes for a long time, and exclaim, "You can breathe. It's really amazing." In this mode of encouragement, it's hard not to be confident. I didn't think much about him, but now I can't resist the urge to find him. My best friend said, "Get out. Don't get in my way here." I kissed her and said, "I'll come back to you later." Beau Meredith's lounge was so close to my girlfriend's that I was still not stopped, so I pushed the door in. The lounge was empty, with Beau Meredith sitting alone on the sofa. He was surprised to see me. "Why did you come here so quickly? Why don't you talk to Sandra Thompson a little longer?" I was too embarrassed to tell the truth, so I walked over to the other side and sat down. But he could perceive people's opinions, and he approached me little by little, and whispered in my ear, "I miss you so much." The place where his breath was blown by was instantly numb. I was afraid that the atmosphere would not be good if I stayed any longer, so I simply took out my phone to divert my attention. My eyes drifted to Weshit unintentionally, and I finally remembered a problem that I had ignored for a long time. I asked him, "How did we become Weshit friends in the first place?" I'm also not impressed with how I managed to have Beau Meredith's Weshit. Beau Meredith smiled. "It's also a fashion dinner. You came backstage to find Sandra Thompson." And you were surrounded by a group of men to add it. I remember that it was at the end of last year. At that time, Sandra Thompson was not very popular, and those people had work contacts with her, and I was afraid of affecting her, so I almost didn't refuse to come. He said, I recognized you at a glance, and asked my assistant to add it to my phone. I deliberately provoked, why don't you come yourself? You are playing the score. If Bo Meredith had added me with this face, I would never have forgotten it. He was very helpless and said, I want to come, but I can't. When I saw you, my legs were so weak that I couldn't walk at all. An understatement, but it set off turbulent waves in my heart. I feel like I'm refreshing my perception every day. How much he loved me is a question worth exploring for a lifetime. He was still looking at me infatuatedly, but my mind was full of inappropriateness. I stepped forward and offered to kiss him. Outside was a noisy and messy human voice. I nestled indoors with him, enjoying the quiet and long-lasting sweetness of this side alone. I'm glad I was brave in the past. I think I'll always be brave. The end.